Welcome to HFY Sci-Fi Stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. A shattering emergency alert ripped through Amy's slumber at 3:47 IEM, a cosmic bolt cleaving through her dreams. She bolted upright, shoving the communicator away, a murmur escaping her lips. What now? A stern voice crackled through the device. Ambassador Thompson, this is command. We need you at the Galactic Council chambers within the next 30 minutes. Full diplomatic emergency. Amy's breath hitched as she stared at the ceiling. Her bunny slippers, a comforting weight against her feet, twitched as the gravity of the situation sank in. 30 minutes to the most crucial political meeting in human history, wearing flannel pajamas adorned with tiny spaceships. Define emergency, she muttered, sitting up, instantly regretting the motion as her hair decided to wreak havoc. The Dominion Council convened an emergency session, demanding Earth's primary diplomat, that's her appear immediately to address recent concerning developments in human behavior. Amy blinked, then blinked again. What concerning developments? The answer remained elusive, a baffling void. They won't tell us, but they specifically requested you by name, Ambassador Thompson. Intrigued, Amy was Earth's ambassador for only 6 months. Most of that time had been spent deciphering which alien species considered eye contact a declaration of war. 30 minutes. She reviewed her attire. Her pajamas, comfy as they were, probably didn't align with the Dominion Council's diplomatic dress code. Her stomach clenched. Yes, Mom, the transport will be here in 10 minutes, a voice from the communicator assured her. Command suggests the fancy uniform, full of medals, and you need to act like humanity's crowning achievement. Yes, Amy repeated. She stood, her bunny slippers padding softly on the floor. Her gaze lingered on the perfect diplomatic uniform, navy blue, gold trim, and ribbons overflowing. The collar, impossibly stiff, likely could deflect bullets. She glanced at her pajamas, their comforting softness contrasting starkly with the uniform's rigid formality. You know what? She whispered into the communicator. I'll skip the uniform. Man, ELA transport, I'll be ready in 5 minutes. She hung up before command could object. A quick brush through her hair, a toothbrushing frenzy, and she grabbed her briefcase. The bunny slippers stayed put. The transport pilot, a young human named Tyler, merely assessed the situation and kept quiet. Clever kid. ETA to the Dominion Council chambers is 18 minutes, he announced, laser-focused on flight controls. They're expecting you. Amy mused as the transport slipped into hyperspace. Humans had been part of the galactic community for a mere 2 years. The Dominion Council, comprised of 12 unique species, was notorious for its varying customs and expressions of displeasure, ranging from formal protests to outright planetary obliteration. Earth, ever on high alert, meticulously navigated this complex environment. Each human representative was chosen for their composure and ability to disarm potential foes, even those with tentacles instead of arms, or who breathed methane. The transport emerged from hyperspace near the imposing Dominion Council station, a colossal structure resembling a crystal cathedral fused with a fortress. Ships from dozens of species circled the station. You are cleared for emergency docking bay 7, the station's traffic controller announced. Amy noticed a tremor in the controller's voice. Bad. The docking bay buzzed with frenetic alien technicians. Amy descended the ramp, her bunny slippers softly squeaking on the polished floor, and every single alien in the bay stopped their tasks, their gazes fixed on her. A tall, slender being with numerous arms and a possible face approached. Ambassador Thompson, I am Coordinator Hexalon. The Council awaits. Amy studied Hexalon's unreadable expression, his features primarily sensory organs she couldn't decipher, though his body language suggested unease. Lead on, she said, tightening her grip on her briefcase. The walk felt like a journey to the gallows. Aliens whispered along the corridors, their languages a symphony of musical instruments and grinding machinery. Her universal communicator caught snippets. Is that the human delegate? What is she wearing? The council chamber doors, towering and adorned with cryptic symbols, swung open, revealing a circular room with a raised platform where 12 diverse beings sat, their chairs designed for everything imaginable. In the center sat a single chair, human-sized, clearly meant for her. Amy walked across the chamber, her bunny slippers echoing in the sudden quiet. 12 pairs of eyes tracked her. She sat down, crossed her legs, and surveyed the room, appearing as if awaiting a coffee offering. Silence descended. Finally, a massive creature with crystalline skin and a voice like grinding stone spoke. I am Chairman Mordak of the Dominion Council. You are Ambassador Amy Thompson of Earth." "That's me," Amy said cheerfully. "Nice place you've got here. Very imposing." More silence. Chairman Morak's crystal features shifted, as if perplexed. "Ambassador Thompson, are you aware of why you have been summoned?" "Not really. Your people were rather vague about this concerning developments matter. The Dominion Council has received multiple reports regarding human behavior requiring immediate clarification." "Such as?" Another council member, a cross between a spider and a filing cabinet, spoke. 3 days ago, a human representative on Quintel Prime was seen eating with their hands during a formal dinner. Amy blinked. "Okay." "And yesterday, a human trade negotiator on Vornati Station was laughing during a serious mineral rights discussion." "Right. Still not seeing a crisis." The spider filing cabinet's appendages clicked, a sign of agitation. "And this morning, reports indicate Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council was seen in public wearing." All 12 members stared at Amy's feet. She looked down at her bunny slippers. "These? They're slippers. Bunny slippers, specifically." "And you wore them to an emergency session?" "Well, yes. It's 3 a.m., Earth time. I was asleep." The ensuing silence felt heavy, with either enlightenment or impending explosions. Amy bet on the latter. Chairman Morak leaned forward. "Ambassador Thompson, are you aware this is the most important governing body in the galaxy? Are you aware these beings represent civilizations spanning thousands of star systems? Do you know some hold the power to obliterate your planet?" "I assumed," Amy conceded. "But that seems extreme, over bunny slippers." "It's not about the slippers," erupted a creature resembling an enraged octopus. "It is about respect, protocol, the proper conduct in the presence of superiors." Amy tilted her head. "Superiors, the galactic hierarchy, maintaining peace for 10,000 years. And where do humans fit in?" "At the bottom," the octopus stated, "as is appropriate for a species newly discovering faster-than-light travel, whose greatest cultural achievement seems to be turning everything into a competition." Amy paused, then smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "You know, what's amusing about these rigid structures," she mused, sinking back, "is they only truly function when every participant honors the same unspoken accords." A palpable chill descended as Chairman Morak's face, like polished crystal, began to emanate a soft, unsettling luminescence. "Are you implying humanity harbors no intention of respecting our established order?" he challenged. "I'm suggesting perhaps the established order has grown a tad complacent with its own authority." Amy rose, her soft slippers whispering across the floor. "You seek insight into human nature? Here's the essence of it. We don't really adhere to hierarchies. We value earned respect. And claiming superiority from a plush seat earns you nothing but a front-row view of the inevitable fallout. Are you issuing a threat to this council?" The voice, belonging to a being sculpted from what appeared to be obsidian and radiating profound displeasure, boomed. "Threatening? No. Informing? Perhaps." Amy gathered her briefcase, her gaze sweeping the room. "You convened this emergency session out of concern for human behavior. Do you truly wish to know what should truly concern you?" Without waiting for a response, she continued, "You should be profoundly worried that humans react poorly when told they are lesser. You should be terrified by our tendency to defy expectations in the most inconvenient ways possible. And you should be deeply unsettled by the fact that you just spent 20 minutes demeaning the representative of a species that elevated 'hold my drink and watch this' to a foundational principle of existence." The chamber fell into an absolute hush. Amy could discern the gentle hum of the station's life support, the faint resonance of distant vessels arriving and departing, and what might have been the collective introspection of 12 immensely powerful beings recalibrating their perceptions of humankind. "But more than anything," Amy declared, advancing toward the exit, "you should dread the thought of me returning home to inform my people that the galaxy's preeminent governing body views bunny slippers as a threat to cosmic stability." She paused at the threshold, turning back. "Do you know what we call that?" she asked the silent assembly. "Tuesday." The doors sealed shut behind her with a sound akin to distant thunder, leaving the 12 most influential entities in the galaxy frozen in bewildered contemplation of the spot where a woman in comfortable attire had just irrevocably altered the galactic equilibrium. Yet that wasn't the truly astonishing aspect. The astonishing revelation came 3 hours later. Earth received a formal invitation to join the Dominion Council as an esteemed equal, with their noted dress code now conspicuously absent. The communique arrived 6 hours after Amy's departure from the council chamber. It was delivered by a remarkably flustered Plexian courier, whose eyes repeatedly darted to her bunny slippers, as if anticipating an imminent detonation. Amy read the invitation thrice before its full implications registered. "Equal membership," she murmured, standing in her kitchen, her coffee gone cold during her contemplation of this monumental development. "They're offering Earth a seat as an equal member of the Dominion Council." Her communicator chimed. Command, undoubtedly. "Ambassador Thompson," it stated, "we must discuss this invitation immediately. This is utterly unprecedented." Amy took a sip of the tepid coffee, grimacing. "Indeed. When is the next session?" "Tomorrow. However, there's a complication. The other council members are deeply divided on this decision." That struck Amy as intriguing. She had presumed the invitation to be unanimous, but her brief address had evidently sown discord. Divided how? Intelligence indicates Chairman Morak utilized emergency provisions to expedite the invitation. Not all council members were privy to the deliberation. Several are expressing considerable displeasure. Amy walked to the window, gazing out at the city below. Somewhere within that expanse, Earth's foremost diplomatic strategists were likely experiencing acute panic at humanity's abrupt elevation from aspiring probationary members to equals with voting privileges on galactic policy. How displeased are we speaking of? The Sectari delegation has lodged a formal protest against the decision. They deem it premature and potentially hazardous. The Vornathi are concurring. The Sancthari. Amy recalled them from her briefings, a martial society prizing honor and tradition above all, utterly convinced that raw power was the sole currency of consequence in the cosmos. They had been the most vociferous opponents of humanity's initial bid for galactic inclusion. "Let me guess," Amy interjected. "They believe humans are too unsophisticated to wield genuine influence in interstellar affairs." "That's one interpretation," came the reply. "Ambassador Quintel of the Sectari has been particularly vocal about his reservations, asserting humanity has not yet proven itself deserving of parity." Amy finished her coffee, setting the mug down with more force than necessary. "Well, that's about to change. Inform them I will attend tomorrow's session and convey that I am looking." Amy stepped forward, ready to confront their concerns personally. The next morning, she found herself before her closet once more, the diplomatic uniform a stark reminder of the previous day. Buoyed by her pajama-clad success, she considered pushing further. But a line existed between making a statement and igniting conflict. She opted for a compromise, a professional blazer paired with comfortable jeans and her lucky sneakers, emblazoned with tiny Earth flags, a playful gift from Brandon during the cultural exchange. The journey to the council station was different. Instead of a silent, bewildered pilot, Ashley, a human this time, was practically buzzing with nervous anticipation. "Is it true you secured us equal membership by insulting them in bunny slippers?" Ashley inquired as they neared. "It's far more intricate than that," Amy replied, a smile gracing her lips. The tale had already become legend. The docking bay bustled, with ships from at least 20 different species present, a significant increase. Amy recognized the sleek, predatory vessels of the Sectari, the geometric forms of the Vahani, and others she couldn't immediately identify. "Looks like word got out," she murmured. Coordinator Hexalon awaited, but he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a colossal figure, easily 7 feet tall, clad in what appeared to be ceremonial battle armor, their skin possessing the texture of burnished metal. "Ambassador Thompson," Hexon began, his voice laced with a new, heightened nervousness. "This is War Speaker Quintel of the Sectari Hegemony." Amy gazed up at the armored figure. Quite the elevated title, War Speaker. Quintel's helmet swiveled toward her with a metallic whir. His voice, when he spoke, resonated from deep within, like gravel at the bottom of a well. "Human Amy Thompson, I have heard extensively of your actions yesterday. I trust they were all commendable, though time will reveal the truth." The walk to the council chamber now felt charged with palpable tension, replacing the whispers of curiosity. Aliens in clusters fell silent as she passed, fragments of hushed conversations reaching her. Unprecedented decision. Dangerous precedent. What were they thinking? The chamber doors swung open to a dramatically altered scene. The 12 usual council members were present, joined by advisors, observers, and representatives from countless other species, filling the space. Amy's solitary chair remained, but a second was now positioned beside it, and War Speaker Quintel made it clear this was his intended seat. "Today," Chairman Morak announced once all were settled. "We convene to address humanity's proposed ascension to equal standing within the Dominion Council." A wave of murmurs swept the chamber. Amy noted the distinctly uneasy expressions on several council members' faces. "That decision was made impulsively," Quintel declared, his voice easily commanding the room, "without proper deliberation, without due consideration for the ramifications." "The decision was predicated on new revelations concerning human capabilities and character," Chairman Morak countered. "Character?" Quintel rose, his armor clanking ominously. "What character was demonstrated by appearing before this esteemed council in slumber attire, displaying such disregard for beings who have safeguarded galactic peace for millennia?" Every eye in the chamber fixed upon Amy. Instead of recounting her 3 a.m. summons or her response to perceived condescension, she stood and met Quintel's gaze directly. "You wish to discuss character?" she challenged. "Let us discuss character." The chamber fell into a profound silence. "You claim to maintain galactic peace," Amy continued, "by subjugating species through fear, by enforcing stability by dictating everyone's position within your hierarchy. You uphold order by suppressing any who dare question the efficacy of that order." Quintel's helmet turned towards her with another mechanical whir. "You speak of matters beyond your comprehension, human." "I understand you are afraid," Amy stated. The reaction was instantaneous. Several council members flinched as if she had announced an imminent contagion. Quintel's posture shifted, and Amy felt his hostility radiating outwards. "Afraid," he repeated, his voice deepening into a menacing whisper. "Terrified," Amy responded calmly. "You fear that granting humans an equal voice will embolden other species to demand the same. You dread your esteemed hierarchy transforming from natural order into a mere protection racket. How dare you?" Amy interjected. "But mostly, you fear you might have to start treating others. They want to treat our species with genuine respect, not as their pawns, and they're terrified of relinquishing the power they've clung to for eons." The council chamber exploded with noise, a chaotic symphony of languages, some voices rising in fervent support, others howling in defiant opposition. Amy stood unflinchingly amidst the uproar, her gaze fixed solely on Quintel, studying his every reaction. Silence descended, abrupt and absolute, as Chairman Morak's voice sliced through the discord like a honed blade. The assembly stilled. "War Speaker Quintel," Morak intoned, "you requested to address the council regarding humanity's merit. Please proceed." Quintel paused, a long, pregnant silence hanging in the air. Then, with deliberate slowness, he removed his helmet, revealing a face sculpted from the very metal of his armor. His eyes, molten copper pools, locked onto Amy, burning with an intensity that might have been unnerving had she not spent her morning wrestling with Earth's media, struggling to comprehend the unfolding crisis. "You speak of fear," Quintel said, his voice a low rumble. "But do you truly grasp what the Sectari dread most?" "Enlighten me," Amy challenged. "We dread chaos. We dread the unraveling of the order that has safeguarded billions of lives across the cosmos. We fear the rise of species who lack the wisdom to wield power responsibly." Amy inclined her head, acknowledging his point. "Fair enough. But do you know what terrifies humans most?" Quintel waited, his silence a challenge. "We fear being told we're incapable, that we can't handle responsibility. We've never been given a fair chance to prove ourselves." She gestured around the chamber. "You question whether humans are ready for equal standing? The truth is, we'll never meet your rigid standards. We'll never fit neatly into your established hierarchy. We'll never stop questioning assumptions, challenging traditions you hold sacred." Amy stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. "That's precisely why you need us." "Explain," Quintel demanded. "When was the last time someone in this chamber dared suggest that the way things have always been done might not be the best way?" Silence. "When was the last time someone pointed out that a system that relegates most species to subordinate roles might not serve the best interests of all involved?" Deeper silence. "When was the last time someone proposed that this council might benefit from perspectives beyond those of the same 12 species who've dictated galactic policy for millennia?" Amy scanned the faces around her. "You want to know what makes humans a threat? It's not our technology, our military prowess. It's that we look at your meticulously structured, seemingly perfect hierarchy, and our immediate instinct is to ask, what if we tried something different?" She turned back to Quintel. "You're right to be afraid, but your fear is misplaced. You should fear stagnation, A galaxy where no one challenges authority, where no one questions the status quo, where no one dares to envision a better future. Amy returned to her seat. The question isn't whether humans are ready for equal membership. The question is whether this council is ready for members who won't blindly follow the dictates of the established powers. The chamber fell into a profound silence. Amy could discern the hum of life support, the distant murmur of interstellar traffic, and perhaps the subtle cracking of millennia-old political foundations. Finally, Quintel broke the silence. And if we deem ourselves unready for such disruption? Amy's smile lacked reassurance. Then you'll discover what humans do when denied something they truly desire. We innovate. The silence stretched, heavy and unbroken. Then, a sound like metal grinding on stone, Quintel began to laugh, a chilling sound that reverberated through the chamber. Innovative, he repeated, a hint of dark amusement in his tone. Yes, I can foresee the challenges. He rose to his feet, his gaze sweeping across the council. The Sectari withdraws its objection to humanity's elevation to equal membership. The chamber erupted anew, a cacophony of surprise, confusion, anger, relief, and even excitement. But the true shock was yet to come. As the lights flickered and died, plunging the chamber into darkness, as emergency broadcasts blared, a chilling realization dawned. While they had been debating humanity's fate, someone else had been orchestrating a far more radical transformation. Amy's communicator buzzed urgently. Admiral Jackson's voice, sharp and laced with alarm, cut through the mounting chaos. Ambassador, we have a problem. Someone has breached our classified military databases. Every voice in the council chamber ceased. Amy looked from face to face, witnessing the swift shift from panic to bewilderment to something akin to utter terror. A chilling betrayal unfolded within the council chamber. Identify the source, Amy commanded into the comms, her voice laced with dread. An unknown entity, a digital phantom, had breached every security protocol, siphoning everything: fleet locations, weapon designs, tactical strategies, even classified projects. Jackson's voice, a low moan of horror, faded. Unthinkable, Thompson. Data I didn't know existed. Chairman Morak's face, a mask of icy fear, glowed ominously. Ambassador, is Earth's military conducting rogue intelligence operations? Not to my knowledge, Amy replied, her stomach twisting. Admiral, how extensive is this breach? Jackson, his voice a grim whisper, declared, everything. The entire military database. But the horror deepened. They weren't just stealing, they were broadcasting it. Coordinator Hexen's frantic limbs danced over the control panel. I'm receiving the transmission. It's being sent to every vessel in the system, the exile fleet included. Amy felt a cold dread grip her. Exposing our capabilities to our enemies. Hexen's voice, spiraling into a hysterical scream, continued. But the worst is yet to come. The transmission is emanating from within this very station. The ensuing silence, broken only by the faint hum of life support and the distant thrum of the exile fleet, was punctuated by Wintel's strained whisper. Someone here is leaking human military secrets? Amy spoke, her voice low and decisive. Not just someone. Something. A chilling truth began to unfold. It was coming from the Council's own computer systems. The access wasn't unauthorized, Amy stated, a dawning realization in her eyes. It was automated, a pre-programmed directive triggering the moment we joined the Council. That's impossible, Mac argued. Our systems are secure. There's no way anyone could have planted such a program without inside access. Amy concluded, her voice hardening. Someone with the authority to rewrite the station's core protocols without raising suspicion. A council member orchestrated this. They wanted the exile fleet to know exactly what they faced in combat against humanity. The accusatory din erupted, a cacophony of voices demanding answers, but Amy's gaze, sharp and unblinking, scanned the faces, seeking the telltale signs of deception, the flicker of a hidden motive. Fascinating, a new voice cut through the chaos. Amy found herself looking at Vortel, a being vaguely human, but coated in living metal, eyes glowing with unearthly light. Counselor Vortel, Modak muttered, his voice a low rumble. Do you have an observation? Mere observation, Vortel replied, his voice laced with a metallic resonance. Humanity's databases hold intriguing data, such as... Amy's mind raced, unsure she wanted the answer. The fact that humanity has been exchanging information with extragalactic species for the past 18 months. The chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to Amy, and she saw a shift in those gazes, from suspicion to open accusation. "That's classified," Amy said reflexively. "Not anymore," Vortel countered with a hint of amusement. "It's currently being broadcast throughout the system details of your trade agreements with other galaxies, your exchanges with species we didn't know about, your extensive intelligence network." Amy's mind raced. The classified extragalactic contact program, previously unknown to her, was now being broadcast. "Your species has been conducting covert operations, masquerading as innocent newcomers," Quintel said, his voice a deadly whisper. "We protect ourselves," Amy retorted, "maintaining secret alliances with unknown civilizations. Options for survival, if your galactic civilization turned out hostile." Ralmuth's unsettling face flickered into view, a chilling smile gracing his lips. "How enlightening," he chuckled. "The Council harbors deceitful and clandestine spies. A familiar truth. What does that mean?" Amy demanded. "It means, human Amy Thompson," Ralmuth said. "You remind us very much of ourselves." Amy's words struck like a physical blow, sparking recognition and then a ripple of fear across the faces in the chamber. Rolmoth, speaking calmly, revealed the Modathi's meticulous planning, their formation of alliances with unknown species, their gathering of intelligence, and their thorough preparation. Mac, voice barely a whisper, asked if humans were like the Mai. "No," Rolmoth corrected. "Humans are exactly like the Modathi, except they've learned from our failures." The chamber's attention fixed on Amy, with an intense, laser-like focus. Ralmuth's smile widened, posing a series of pointed questions. How many species has humanity contacted unbeknownst to the Council? How many military alliances has Earth forged without their knowledge? How many contingency plans does Earth possess for the subjugation or elimination of Council member species? Amy remained silent, as the broadcast files seemed to answer for her, detailing Earth's extensive military contingency plans against virtually every major galactic power simultaneously. Vortil interjected, his metallic voice tinged with satisfaction, decrying the broadcast as lies, deception, hidden agendas, and secret alliances, precisely the behaviors that ignited the Marathi War. Amy, turning to face him, accused him of orchestrating the database breach and its timing, believing he wanted the Exile Fleet to witness these revelations. Vortel calmly stated his intention was for the Council to see humanity's true nature before it was too late to prevent them from repeating the Modathi's actions a millennium ago, using their Council position to destabilize the galactic order and reshape it to their will. Amy surveyed the chamber, noting the palpable shift in the Council members' expressions, ranging from suspicion to outright hostility, confirming Vortel's intended impact. "This is insane," Amy declared. "We're not trying to conquer the galaxy." Quintel countered, "Aren't you?" He listed humanity's transgressions: inappropriate attire, disrespect for protocols, demands for equal status without earning it, and covert galactic operations. He questioned how this differed from the Modathi's actions. Amy's response was firm: "Because we're not trying to destroy anyone." Ralmuth, speaking from the display, reminded her that the Modathi also hadn't intended destruction initially, but simply believed they knew best how the galaxy should be governed. Amy felt the pressure mount. Her actions over the past 2 days now reframed as evidence of human duplicity and aggression, her perceived strengths twisted into signs of dangerous ambition. "You want to know the difference?" she finally asked. "Please enlighten us," Vortil replied. Amy walked to her communicator and activated it, asking Admiral Jackson if he was monitoring the transmission. Receiving confirmation, she instructed him to stand down the Third Fleet. A storm of shocked protests erupted. Mac demanded an explanation, and the Admiral, though hearing the order, expressed confusion. "Stand down the Third Fleet," Amy repeated firmly. "Cancel the deployment. Send them home." Her mother's worried plea about the station's defenselessness followed. Amy then turned to face the Council, reiterating her question about the difference between humans and the Morathi. "The Morathi," she stated, "would never voluntarily disarm in the face of an enemy. They would never choose vulnerability. They would never trust their safety to the good intentions of those who have every reason to view them as a threat." She looked directly at Ralmuth. "But that's precisely what I'm doing. I'm trusting that this Council, despite everything that's transpired, will choose to protect Earth's representative, rather than sacrifice me to prove a point." Quintel stated flatly, "You're insane." Amy countered, "Maybe, But I'm also right. Gesturing around the chamber, she continued, "For the past 2 days, you've been testing whether humans deserve a place in your galactic community. Now here's my test for you. Do you deserve to have humans as part of your community?" The silence in the chamber stretched, heavy and expectant. Finally, Realm spoke. "How very interesting. The human is willing to die for her principles. The human is willing to trust that her principles mean something to the people she's chosen to call allies." Amy corrected him. "And if that trust is misplaced," she smiled, "then I guess you'll find out what happens when you back a human into a corner." The transmission abruptly ended, plunging the chamber into absolute silence. Amy stood alone in the center, surrounded by those who held the power to determine her species' fate, awaiting their choice. But the true shock arrived when Chairman Modak rose, met Vortel's gaze, and uttered 5 words that irrevocably altered the galaxy's power dynamics. "Council of Vortel, you are relieved." The sirens wailing through the council chamber were not the same urgent warnings accompanying the exile fleet's arrival. These were deeper, more profound, presaging imminent catastrophe, not a distant peril. "What now?" Amy whispered, her question anticipated by events. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the space around the station in real time. The exile fleet remained, 60 ships forming a perfect sphere. Yet they were no longer alone. "Dimensional rifts detected," Hexalon announced, his voice tinged with growing panic. "Multiple rifts opening throughout the system." Amy watched, mesmerized, as tears in the fabric of space appeared, disgorging vessels that dwarfed the exile fleet, rendering them insignificant. These newcomers possessed designs of an entirely alien nature, hinting at technologies beyond the galaxy's comprehension. "Who are they?" Quintel demanded, his weapon already drawn. "Unknown," Hexalon replied. "Ship configurations do not match any known species. Energy signatures are impossible." A shiver traced Amy's spine as she observed their ships, their fluid grace suggesting a defiance of conventional physics. Hundreds of them. "Incoming transmission," Hexam reported from the unknown fleet. "On screen," Morak commanded, his crystalline features now blazing. The hologram shifted, revealing a face hauntingly familiar human, or near enough that the differences were subtle. Sharper features, eyes holding profound intelligence, and a voice resonating with unearthly harmonics. "Greetings, Council of the Dominion," the being spoke. "I am Commander Alexis Bennett of the Terran Confederation. We have come to retrieve our wayward sister." Amy's blood turned to ice. Bennett, the name purged from all databases, the commander of humanity's lost deep space fleet, declared gone with all hands 18 months prior. "Alexis," Amy breathed. Commander Bennett's gaze found Amy, her expression softening. "Hello, Amy. You've been busy. You're supposed to be dead." "Death is a relative concept when you've spent 18 months in a galaxy where physics is merely a suggestion," Bennett replied with a smile sharp enough to cut steel. "We've learned so much." "The Terran Confederation," Morak stated slowly. "You claim to represent Earth." "I represent what Earth is becoming," Bennett countered. "The version of humanity your esteemed council would never have accepted. The version that doesn't ask for permission." The pieces of a chilling puzzle clicked into place for Amy. "Alexis, what did you do?" "What humans do best," Bennett answered. "We adapted. We evolved. We found allies who truly appreciate what we offer, rather than treating us like children to be managed." The display divided, showing Bennett's face and a tactical overview. Amy realized the approaching forces outnumbered both the exile fleet and the Council's defenses combined. "You're the extragalactic contacts," Amy realized, understanding dawning. "The classified files, the secret alliances, it was all you." "Earth's government knew we survived," Bennett confirmed. "They've been protecting us while we built something superior to what this galaxy offers." "Built what?" "An empire that bows to no self-appointed councils or ancient hierarchies. An empire that takes what it desires and makes no apologies for its strength." The chamber's temperature plummeted. Amy saw the terror on every council member's face. "The files," Quintel murmured. "The hacked military databases. You were gathering intelligence on Earth's current capabilities. We needed to assess how much our homeworld had compromised itself by appeasing you," Bennett explained. "The answer was far too much." Amy stepped forward, her mind racing. "Alexis, you can't just invade the galaxy. These people aren't your enemies." Bennett's expression hardened. They've spent 10,000 years enforcing a system that confines species within rigid hierarchies. They've forged a cosmos that stifles progress, penalizes resilience, and eradicates anyone who deviates from their rigid definition of order. That's precisely their method, Bennett interjected, mirroring their treatment of the Modi. And it's what awaited us once they realized humanity resists confinement within externally imposed limitations. On the screen, Ralmuth's visage appeared in a smaller pane, the exiled fleet's commander observing their discourse with keen fascination. How exquisitely ironic, Ralmuth declared. The very species that challenged us to a singular duel now fields an entire armada. We didn't deploy them, Amy countered, genuinely bewildered. I had no knowledge. Did you not? Bennett's query sliced through Amy's protest. Did you truly believe Earth would dispatch a solitary emissary to confront the galaxy's ruling elite without contingency strategies? Did you truly entrust our civilization's future to the benevolent intentions of alien beings who view us, at best, as fleeting novelties? Amy felt the very foundations of her understanding crumble. Her mission, Earth's interstellar standing, humanity's cosmic place-all, were shattering. The attire, she murmured, grasping at a new thread. Their casual demeanor, the disregard for established protocols. It wasn't accidental. Naturally, Bennett confirmed. You were the ideal envoy, Amy. Just charming enough to be underestimated, astute enough to orchestrate their perfect predicament, and human enough to make them believe they were dealing with a tractable, unseasoned race. You manipulated me. We exploited the circumstances, much as they were exploiting you. Bennett's expression softened with an almost empathetic cast. Did you truly imagine they summoned you to that urgent assembly out of respect for human sovereignty? They summoned you because they feared humanity's potential and sought to assert dominance before it was realized. Amy turned to face the council members, their gazes resolutely averted. Is that the truth? She inquired. Morak's profound silence served as confirmation. The invasion fleet, Amy continued, connections clicking into place. The exile fleet. You orchestrated their arrival. We established contact 6 months prior, Bennett affirmed. They were already preparing their return. We merely expedited their agenda, compelling the council to expose their true character. We needed the galaxy to witness their reality when confronted with a challenge beyond their control or negotiation. Amy felt a wave of nausea. And what are they? Precisely as we predicted. A conclave of civilizations so entrenched in their power that they'd liquidate entire populations to preserve it. The holographic display transformed, revealing the tactical overview. The exile fleet advanced, not towards the Council's stronghold, but the Terran Confederation's armada. Wait, Amy exclaimed. Are you allied? The Mathi comprehend power, Bennett explained. They grasp that the current galactic order solely benefits those at the apex. We have an accord. You've partnered with the very civilization exiled for aspiring galactic domination. We've allied with those who possess the courage to disrupt a system ripe for challenge. Amy surveyed the chamber, the faces around her shifting from suspicion to dread, then to a palpable despair. This is utter madness. You propose to dismantle 10 millennia of galactic civilization. I propose to supplant 10 millennia of inertia with an era of advancement, Bennett corrected. A cosmos where civilizations ascend or decline based on their inherent merit, not their adherence to archaic council dictates of proper conduct. That's merely another guise of tyranny, isn't it? Bennett's smile was subtle. Consider this, Amy. In the last 2 days alone, how many times did this council threaten Earth's annihilation should humanity refuse their prescribed path? Amy opened her mouth to protest, then realized the futility. Their ultimatums, though cloaked in diplomatic civility, had been undeniable. That's different, she stammered weakly. No, it's identical. The sole distinction lies in our forthright declaration of intent. The chamber fell into an unnerving quiet, punctuated only by the mournful resonance of emergency alarms. Amy stood amidst the unfolding chaos, her entire worldview disintegrating before her eyes. Abruptly, an unfamiliar voice pierced the oppressive atmosphere. Perhaps a different approach is feasible. Amy turned to behold a presence she hadn't registered before. A statuesque, graceful being, with skin like burnished silver and eyes that held the glint of distant stars. Their movements exuded an aura of profound antiquity or immense power, perhaps both. I am Elder Nixara of the Stellar Conclave, the being announced to the assembled body. We have observed these events with considerable fascination. Morax's crystalline features registered a flicker of recognition. Your people. A different galaxy beckons. Centuries ago, we severed ties with the Dominion Council's galactic structure. We've built something better, a vibrant tapestry of independent worlds. Imagine a network of free species, coordinating when needed, without empires or councils dictating their fates. This isn't an alternative, it's a reality. A vibrant conclave of 147 worlds, 36 species, proving a third path, a path away from tyranny. You've never sought us out, instead assuming our lack of participation meant inferiority or hostility. We chose our own future. This isn't your democracy. It's something more fluid, more adaptable. Each world governs itself, guided by its values. Shared challenges unite us, shared triumphs empower us. This model has worked for 300 years. The implications reverberated. Empire builders questioned their plans. The exiled considered their vendetta. Even the established councils reevaluated their outdated systems. Join this conclave? Build your empire, wage your wars, or choose evolution. This new paradigm transcends councils' judgments and empires' claims. It ends exile fleets' vengeful quests. Humans wearing pajamas at diplomatic functions? Perfectly normal. We welcome our myriad of differences. Diversity isn't just tolerated, it's cherished. Celebrate the ways our species communicate and thrive, suspended upside down or via interpretive dance. This isn't effortless. Building true freedom demands relentless effort, relentless communication, and ceaseless problem-solving. It's harder than conquest, yet attainable. It's happening. Will you be a part of it? You see fear, uncertainty, curiosity on the faces of these beings, whose understanding of the galaxy has been shattered. What if we say yes? The true work begins. This conclave empowers, cultivates, and challenges each member. The Council needs cooperation, not decrees. The Confederation needs constructive pursuits. The Exile Fleet needs a new purpose. And humanity needs to embrace its worth as part of a larger whole. Tears welled in Amy's eyes. For days, she'd fought for her species' right to exist, now presented with an unparalleled chance. A chance to thrive in a larger galactic community. How do we begin? With a single step forward. Bennett, are your people, lost in your wormhole empire, truly thriving? Survival is not enough. We cultivate growth. Real revenge fades. Consider a better reason for your return. The Conclave doesn't just help species survive, it nurtures their flourishing. The chance for something entirely novel. Finally, Amy rose, surveying the chamber. I cannot speak for Earth's leadership or humanity as a whole, only for myself, she declared, her voice resonating with newfound conviction. But I yearn to try this. I wish to help forge something far better. As do I, Quintel affirmed, his pronouncement a startling ripple through the assembly. The Sainthari have always prized strength, yet perhaps our understanding of that strength has been too limited. We Vorathi are eager to explore uncharted possibilities, another council member added. Around the chamber, a chorus of voices swelled, not all in agreement. Some council members remained impassive, Bennett's expression still cautious, Ralmuth's thoughts entirely unreadable. Yet sufficient support emerged to signal that transformation was within reach. Then let us commence, Nixara declared. The Stellar Conclave formally extends an invitation to all present to engage in this transition. Those who join us will collaborate with our integration specialists to devise novel governance structures, honoring both existing traditions and emerging potential. Those who opt for independence will be embraced as esteemed trading partners and steadfast allies. And those who choose neither? Bennett inquired. They will be left to chart their own course, provided they do not impede the destinies of others, Nixara confirmed. A feeling, absent since this monumental crisis began, bloomed within Amy. Genuine optimism. When do we embark? Nixara responded, Our first step lies in acknowledging that the old systems faltered for many. The second, in embracing the courage to attempt the new. The third, and most challenging, is cultivating the trust necessary to build a future none of us can envision alone. Amy gazed at her worn sneakers, then at the galaxy's most powerful beings, and finally at the holographic display showcasing hundreds of ships, representing countless species, all awaiting the unfolding events. You know what? She grinned, her voice bright with anticipation. I think humanity will find this rather appealing. 3 years later, Amy found herself within the conclave assembly on New Harmony Station, observing delegates from over 400 worlds as they debated the implementation of the galaxy's first truly universal translation protocol. She wore her beloved jeans, a soft sweater, and a new pair of sneakers adorned with miniature galaxies, a thoughtful gift from the Proxima delegation. Presiding over the assembly was a Varathi philosopher, chosen by rotation from a pool of willing candidates. The assembly secretary was a collective intelligence hailing from the Silicon Fields, meticulously documenting proceedings in 47 languages simultaneously. Guiding the discussions was a former Marathi warrior who had exchanged his formidable armor for flowing robes and cultivated a remarkable talent for fostering common ground. The debates were fervent, spanning multiple languages, and occasionally erupted into spirited arguments requiring mediators adept in everything from chemical communication to empathic broadcasting. Yet progress, though slow and imperfect, was undeniable, marked by setbacks and frustrations. They were collectively constructing something unprecedented, a galaxy where every voice held significance. Commander Bennett had ultimately joined the conclave, bringing with her the innovative technologies her people had developed during their period of isolation. The Modati had fragmented. Some, like the assembly mediator, had wholeheartedly embraced the new paradigm, while others had ventured to the galactic rim to establish their own separate society. The former ruling species had initially grappled with the shift from dominion to participation, but most had successfully adapted. Earth had ascended to become a foundational member of the conclave's core, not due to inherent superiority, but because of their willingness to pose crucial questions at pivotal moments. "Ambassador Shia Thompson," a voice called from behind her. Turning, Amy recognized Elder Nixara, who, despite her esteemed title, was actually younger than Amy and had been elected by her homeworld's parliament of sentient trees. "Elder," Amy inquired, "how are the integration proceedings progressing?" Nixara replied with a thoughtful smile. "Chaotically, democratically, with a surprising amount of compromise and genuine headway. It is precisely what we envisioned, yet entirely unlike our expectations." Amy chuckled. "Any regrets about inviting humanity to join?" Nixara responded, her smile widening. "Only when you choose to wear those particular shoes for formal gatherings. Though I must admit," she added, "they have sparked some rather intriguing fashion trends among our younger delegates." They stood together, observing the representatives of galactic civilization passionately debating linguistic algorithms and cultural sensitivity protocols, a fervor their ancestors might once have reserved for warfare. "Do you believe it will endure?" Amy asked. Nixara considered the question with gravitas. "Ask me again in 10,000 years, but I believe we've laid a solid foundation, even with all the chaos, and perhaps precisely because of it. The galaxy is an inherently complex place, Amy. It requires a similarly intricate solution." Amy surveyed the assembly chamber, beholding beings from hundreds of diverse worlds striving to understand how to coexist without surrendering their unique identities. It was boisterous, intricate, and frequently demanding. It was a profoundly frustrating experience, punctuated by moments where she simply crumbled. Yet paradoxically, it was also the most breathtaking sight she had ever witnessed. And it all began with a single woman, clad in cozy bunny slippers, who steadfastly refused to accept that she didn't have a place. The vast expanse of the galaxy, as it unfolded, proved to be capacious enough for all, including humankind, a species known for its casual sneakers at solemn constitutional gatherings, and its knack for posing precisely the most challenging questions at the opportune moment. A gentle smile touched Amy's lips as she relaxed, ready to absorb the unfolding spectacle of democracy at work. She knew the proceedings would stretch on, but there was no other place she'd rather be. After all, someone needed to ensure that the liberty of choosing one's attire remained just that, a choice.